We're live. You guys can talk. We're recording. So all good.
Right. It seems like you were about to sing a song, Chris. I was getting excited.
No.
Hopefully by the end of the hour.
We don't want that.
I don't know. We might.
Maybe after a couple drinks or something.
Exactly. It's 3. Like,
that could be arranged.
Perfect.
Perfect. We're all going to Tyler's place after this.
There we are.
Come on over.
Austin, I feel like you have the most legit background.
Have the what?
You have the most legit background.
Yeah, it's we start living. When you have to do so much of this bullshit, you start creating all kinds of stuff. It's either here or my kitchen. One of the two.
Oh, the Hewitts are
We
here.
did your kitchen for that media thing. That was actually a really good one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Who do we got tuning in already? Martha and Steve Hewitt from Columbus, Ohio. Glad to have you back on. They're saying hey to Maggie.
Maggie would be good at this chat feed thing. I can never do two things at once like that.
I did just say hi, Hewitt, to the panel.
Person. You and Amanda Higgins too are just like all over the chat thing. I can't do two things at once. So apologies ahead of time.
I dig the chat. It's okay. I'll relay any messages that are directed at you.
Yeah. Thank you, Maggie.
That's true, huh? Amanda is really fast at that. She beats me.
She's on it, man.
It's a question to me, and I'm trying to catch up to her.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome. All right, let's let Facebook catch up to us here in a second, and then we'll kick it off. So give us another minute or so, just a few seconds. Actually, that is a really good AVA map that you have there behind you, Austin.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that a Hope family proprietary map? It kind of looks like it.
Oh, it's different than mine.
Well, it says words Fiona pretty bold on there. That's a good giveaway. Yeah. Well, what's Fiona AVA? I never heard of that one. Yeah.
Okay, don't be jealous of my kitchen. There's my spaghetti squash. And
how long has it been sitting there?
Only a couple days. Just a couple days.
Okay, good. All right.
You know.
I'll buy a spaghetti squash and like it just becomes an ornament.
Become a fixture. It's just
it never becomes an actual meal. Yeah.
Always with the best intentions with those things, and then they just goes in the green waste.
Sit there. Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's do this. So, hey everyone, it's Chris Toronto, Paso Wine Country Alliance with the Paso Wine Hour. Thank you for joining us again for another one of these fun shows. Today we are talking about the virtual auction that we're doing. And I'll tell you, we're going to talk a little bit about a few interesting lots. That's why we have our guests on today. But we're also actually going to talk a little bit about the state of the industry as we're seeing it. As things starting to open back up, there are some challenges out there. And I've got 3 people that are genuinely articulate and got their finger on the pulse of so much that they're going to be able to help us understand what's happening out there in the great big wine world, even outside of our area of Paso and within Paso and in so many other ways. But first off, let's get into introducing some of the guests. So first we have Maggie Tillman with Alta Colina. We have Tyler Russell, Cordenell, and Austin Hope with Hope Family Wines. I'd love to welcome Maggie. Maggie, say hello.
Hello. Reporting from Alta Colina here. I'm on the vineyard and it's beautiful and it's nice to see some faces that I haven't seen in a while.
Right on. And Tyler from Cordenell. Hey.
Hi everybody, Tyler Russell, Cordenell Winery, sitting here on what we call the porch of the winery, not an actual porch, it's a table that sits outside. This was the space that everyone let me sit at. We could have been inside, but they said no, so here I am.
That's good. Less background noise, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, for now.
Cool. And then Austin Hope. Actually, I got to tell everybody, Austin, part of the almost impetus of this show was basically I was talking to Austin. I'm like, Austin, I want to do a state of the industry type of show. And then I had Jen Bravo, who puts our auction together, say, you're going to have Austin on. He should talk about his auction lot. And then I kind of put them together. And then Jen actually said, and then these other exciting people should be on with you. So Austin, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. It's cool.
Cool. Right on. Well, what is the auction? Our auction that we're doing, it's our first virtual auction. Normally we do a live and in-person one. It's part of our wine festival that we do here every third weekend in May. It raises funds for our scholarship. We actually have a 501c3 foundation, the Paso Robles Wine Country Foundation, and these funds are able to help kids who are graduating high school either go off into college somewhere, and so it'll augment some of what's happening with their tuitions and the like, or it can even help some kids going into some trade schools and all. All of the North County being here in the Paso Robles wine region, high schools, we have outreach that go to them that says, hey kids, or counselors anyway, we've got these funds available, send us your proposals. And so they fill out applications, this and that, and we get some really great kids that are looking for some help as they go further in their education. And those funds need to come from somewhere. So we have this auction. And the auction itself this year, for the first time, like I mentioned, is going to be virtual. And so beginning on May 10th, we have 23 lots, I believe it is. I have two board members, by the way, on here with me, being Austin Hope and Tyler Russell. So they also helped kind of imagine and craft this whole program. But these lots go on sale, like I said, on Monday. We've got 23 of them. A lot of them are super interesting. And actually these three represent three of the categories of auction lots, because we have one category of lots that are actually for out of town, one that's just wine, but really kick-ass cool wines. And then another one that's going to be experiential, where you stay overnight in Paso. And actually, I want to kick it to Austin first on this. Austin's lot is basically a vertical. And for all of you who are watching who might not know what that is, of course, is looking at past vintages of the same wine. I believe it's the Austin Hope Cabernet Sauvignon. This is the 17, but you go as far back as maybe 06. Am I right there? Is that?
No, I think it's the first vintage of the Austin Hope Cabernet, which was 2015.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And why that cab, and tell us the story on that, and some of the scores and some of the kind of how things evolved with this cab.
So we've obviously made wine here for quite some time. I've been farming in the area since 1978, and so we've got a lot of history in the region, and we really we kind of set our sights of what we did. We've been making Cabernet for a long time, and under our Liberty School label, or Triana is more of a blend. But then we started thinking, we want to really kind of create a luxury Cabernet, is what it was, and we wanted to set the standard for what it should be, and we just started playing around with it. We spent 7 years developing the wine, finding, and it was basically one of the, I think, key characters of the wine is, I think, Cabernet's king. It always will be. It's just the way it is. People drink Cabernet and drink Chardonnay. That's the majority of the wines that are drunk across the U.S. And it's just the big Cabernets, in my opinion, as far as the ones that are most well noted, they can be a little bit rough and hard, and that just by nature the grape has a very, it can be a very tannic wine. And for me, the really expensive ones, the high-end ones, the luxury ones, were just a little too grippy for me, and too edgy, too hard. People, and I'm a consumer just like everybody else, and I like Cabernet, but I want the wine to show not such rough edges, and drinkable upon release, and the tannins be soft and supple, yet analytically still very high in tannin, so the wine will last for a long period of time. So that was kind of the idea, and can we do this? And so we've spent my whole life, and my team has, was studying tannins, really understanding them. How do we manipulate tannins to make them softer, more supple, and find the right growing area? So 7 years went by while we were developing this concept, and then we released Triana Cabernet first as kind of a precursor. So it was the first time we released Triana Cabernet, was in 2014 vintage. It immediately had success, but so we're like, okay, we're on the right track. Consumers like it. We're not just not a crazy pipe dream I'm on. And so we released in 2015, and it was we positioned it, the way we positioned it was put it into restaurants and be very aggressive to go nationally into restaurants with this wine so we could get consumer trial, see what the consumers actually thought. Well, we started going really quickly. Consumers liked it. They liked the price. We benchmark against every wine we make, from Liberty School to Austin Oak Reserve, every price point. And we want to be as good or better than our competitive set at a much higher price. So, for example, with the Austin Oak Cabernet, we tasted it against all the big stuff out of Napa you can imagine, from Screaming Eagle to Harlan to Caymus to all these brands that are well known, Dunn's, all these brands that are very super high quality luxury brands, but very expensive as well. We blind tasted amongst my team, and we've kept coming in there. And do we win every time? No, we don't win every time, but we fit in that category? Is that the scene we are? And we all agreed we were. So what we've created is a brand that's probably drinks like a wine that most people would be paid $200, $300, $400 for. And ours is 55 to 60. So that was another big thing that we like to do is over deliver quality. Then we got a score from Wine Ketman on the first Wine Enthusiast, which Matt Ketman was the reviewer, the critic on it, and it gave it the first vintage got a 97 right out of the gate, which was just to put it in perspective. So the Wine Enthusiast has been rating Paso wines for 30 years. And they've never given one that high. That was the highest score that's ever been given. So it was a good help boost to increase consumer awareness of not only the wine but the region. And so we were just elated by that. It sold out quickly, and then 16 went really fast. And 17 again, all these wines have been over 95 points. And then the 17 they called us and they said this is the number 10 wine of the world, the top 100, which we were like, holy crap, it's like, this is insane. And because Wine Enthusiasts taste 25 or 6,000 wines a year across from the world. And then all the editors and critics get together and they put into the ring, whatever handful of wines they do. I mean, quite a bit of wines that they're top wines that they've tasted, and then they narrow it down into what they feel fits the bracket, and they take into consideration size, appellation. They put the whole metrics, which I don't really totally know. So that was the 17, and then the 18 came along, and we were going along good, and then they called and said that's the number 7 wine of the year. And so it was like, holy, this is just insane. Like it was you don't think lightning strikes twice. It did. It was so we were extremely humbled and excited, and just it's cool, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing about it that makes us so excited is it brings more attention to Paso, right? It's just,
yeah,
Paso's just, everybody that's on here lives and breathes Paso and loves Paso. And that's, to me, to be able to, see a Paso wine get that much, praise is just like, it's finally like the region is catching, right? And it's just the region is on fire. There's so many great wines coming from here and so many great people. It's really pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's what's really neat though too is that, and for this, taking it back to, of course, to the different auction lots, you can get a whole vertical of it through this auction, which is pretty rad for one thing. But then you have a couple of large formats that are in there too. I think the 17 and the 18, those that both were given 10 and then 7 respectively in the world from Wine Enthusiast. Those are big bottles as well as the 750 size. So that's pretty cool. And that's pretty special though, that we're able to include these wines because you saved a few back, obviously.
Yeah, but we don't save a ton of them. And that is the cool part, right? I mean, it's if you didn't get to experience it the first time, like you're drinking a 17. I mean, I haven't seen a bottle of 17 in a long time. I mean, that's, I don't know where you've been hiding it, but we're selling 19 right now. So it's cool that we hold a little bit back. And so it's a special thing, right? I mean, if you're really into Cabernets and Paso and you can have, taste all of them together, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's super cool. Hey, let's pop over to Maggie. Maggie, so I want to pull this up really quick so people can get a visual of this what do we call it? It's not a trailer park, but it's
the trailer pond, Chris.
Trailer pond. Sorry, we don't
choose a different word than park, and it sounds
Sorry.
a lot better. If it's easy to throw a photo up, we have a really beautiful spot on the vineyard that, when we put the vineyard together, we own this 130-acre piece of land, and we farm 31 of those acres, and it's two big hills. It's super beautiful. And at the low point between the two hills it's really our irrigation pond. It's a functional farming thing. And about 5 years ago, we joined forces with a local company who they restore these vintage camper trailers. So they're all from the 50s and 60s. There's 5 trailers, and they all have their own personalities. They're old, they've got some quirks, but that's part of what's fun about it. And we set up what we call the trailer pond, which is basically a boutique camper hotel around the pond. So you're right in the middle of the vineyard. The views are insane. It's super private. And we do a mix of, some groups rent out all 5. Some weekends it's, 3 couples who know each other and another couple or whatever it might be. And it's really fun.
That's awesome. And this whole lot too, let's get into a little bit about more about the trailer pond and how that kind of came to be in just a second. But I want to tell everybody though, that in true Paso fashion, of course, we combined this lot to have other brands be experienced. And so we've got McPrice Myers involved in this lot, where you can go over and taste over at McPrice Myers. Same thing with Villicana Wines and the Refined Distillery, as well as Parish Family Vineyards, where you can actually go. I think they're going to be doing a little bit of a lunch or something like that there.
The food's super good.
Yes, yeah. And then the Hatch Rotisserie and Bar in downtown Paso. There's a full dining experience as a part of this lot there. And then our friends over at 101 Wine Tours are going to be your wheels. So if you end up with this auction lot, you have somebody driving you around, which is going to be really important, because after visiting all of those wineries and hanging out at the trailer pond, you're going to want somebody to drive you around. So Maggie, tell us, who invented this idea of this trailer pond? Like, how did that come to be?
It's a total fluke. It feels like a very Paso-y thing. 5 or 6 years ago, a friend of mine, Brett, who long time in the wine industry, she lives in South County now. She texted, 4 or 5 people, and we were all women who either own our own businesses or sort of run a small business. So we had the flexibility at the time to drop everything to go have beers and tacos at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday or whatever. And one of the people who was at lunch was Jamie Holm, and she and her husband Carl own Tinkerton Trailer Company. And they do a ton of really cool creative stuff with their business. And it started with restoring these vintage camper trailers. And we were at lunch, and Jamie was talking about how they'd always envisioned a vintage trailer campground. And, they felt like if it could be somewhere related to wine, that would be cool. If it wasn't too far from town, if there was a water feature, like she was sort of listing the dream. And in my head, I was like, like it was weird. And so afterwards I said, hey, Jamie, who I hadn't met before, like, if you ever want to come and walk through it, I don't know, come check it out. And so she came out maybe a week later, and it just sort of checked all the boxes. And so it just naturally came together. So the trailer pond was initially a partnership. So we went into that together with Tinkerton, and that worked incredibly well for years. And as both of our businesses grew up, it made sense for someone to sort of own it outright. So we took over the trailer pond completely last year.
Okay.
So I think since last June or July, so just about a year ago.
I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah, which is cool. It was a really, I can't imagine it would have worked had it gone any other way. And so we now run it. My coworker, Melissa Swanson, our director of hospitality, also manages the trailer pond, and we see super cool people. It's a pretty self-selecting group. If anyone's interested, I highly recommend you read the FAQs. Like, it is camping.
Yeah.
But if you get to the bottom of that page and you think this sounds fun, you will have the best time. It's cool. Again, it's not for everyone. If you get to the bottom of the page and you're like, get a hotel room and just come and drink wine with me. Best to be honest.
What's pretty neat over there too is you have this tasting deck that actually overlooks the trailer pond down below, that you can also, and I think it's part of this package, is you get to taste with Maggie on this deck and hang out, and basically it's all downhill from there. Literally,
It really is. It really is. The deck, we do our Summit Vineyard tastings there regularly. So on weekends, you can book those. And it's this viewing deck surrounded by vines in the middle of one of our blocks on the vineyard. It's incredibly beautiful. And if you care about viticulture, even better because you're in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. If Maggie, if you do get an opportunity to pull up a picture, we can have you share the screen. I tried sharing the screen for the pictures that we have on our preview, and I'll go back to that eventually for everyone to see. But I couldn't inflate them. I didn't realize that, so my bad.
I've got a whole stockpile. Don't worry.
Yeah. So check this out, everyone. I'm not a basketball guy. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a Red Sox fan, really. But I mean, this is kind of neat that there's a signed jersey here for the Sacramento Kings that you're wondering, well, why Sac Kings for our auction? That's all Tyler's doing. And I don't know how you scored all of this other Sac Kings swag that's in a box right here, but I thought that was kind of the neatest thing. How did that come about?
Well, I actually reconnected with an old friend through social media or whatever, how people reconnect these days. And just shooting the shit, asking, hey, what are you up to these days? And he mentioned he worked for the Sacramento Kings, which was awesome for me because I happen to be a really big NBA basketball fan, always have. Growing up as a little kid when Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, it was hard not to just kind of become obsessed with the sport. And, you know, fast forward years later and still into it. And so in talking to him, I said, hey, I'd love to come to a Kings game and whatnot. One of these days I go to Sacramento for this trade show every year, which we have this thing called the Unified Trade Symposium, which happens every year in Sacramento. So I said, hey, I'm going to be coming up in Sacramento. I'd love to buy some tickets and, you know, connect or have a beer before or after. And he said, don't worry about buying tickets. And yes, we can have a beer after. And so I got there, I gave him my name, kind of didn't know what was going on. And sure enough, you know, got me into this game and sat like 4 rows from the court and watched an amazing basketball game and had a blast and said, dude, hey, anytime, like, you know, I'm happy to give you wine or buy tickets, but I want to do that again. And he just says, don't worry about it. And so we kind of reconnected through that and stay in touch. And so I go to maybe 2 or 3 games a year now because of him and gotten to really, you know, like I said, through reconnecting him, we've become tight again. So it's cool. And he's really excited to have taken part in this. I mentioned, you know, the scholarship program, which we benefit and everything. So he was really excited to put together this package. The jersey is signed by their point guard, De'Aaron Fox. So for any of those that do watch basketball, he's one of the most up and coming players in the league right now. It's really fun to watch. It's a really fun, young, scrappy team. And so it's been really cool to be able to have a connection to that place and get to see some good games and whatnot.
So this auction lot basically has you going to Sacramento, or maybe you live in Sacramento, maybe you're close by, whatever, going to a Kings game, having dinner with Tyler, having a bunch of Cordenel wine, and then staying the night. And boom, you have like the city experience where you're getting a little slice of Paso, but in the city. And
yeah.
Lot, actually, what's really funny is the second we said, hey, we're going to do this auction, you guys, and this is to the board, Tyler, we already have we've had this now actually for like months since we started to put this thing together. You were on top of it.
Well, I wanted to come up with something that was more than just wine because so we're located outside of the Tin City area, which is an urban or industrial space. And as awesome as we try to make it, it's still no substitute for trailers around a pond in a vineyard. I mean, you can't really offer that same experience. But I did want to do something outside the box and really try to find something that was an experience to itself. And this is just what I came up with randomly. And it came together almost too easily, too. I called my buddy and said, hey, I got this, like I said, got this thing. It's attached to the scholarship program. And he's just like, what's your address? It was really that easy. And next thing, I didn't expect the swag as early as that either. But there, lo and behold, there it was. And of course, we had to add some wine to it. So the lot does include a 3-pack of library wine. Whoever wins the lot, I want to just talk to and see what they're into, what they like, and really put together a 3-pack that makes sense to their preferences.
Yeah, totally.
So we'll get that ahead because this isn't until the 2020, 21, 22 season. So you're going to have to wait a little bit. So we do want to get you something in the meantime. So we'll send the wine as soon as we know who the winner is, and then we have a little chat. And then what we'll do too is we'll look at the schedule and say, here's some games to choose from. What do you think? And so it's pretty flexible. The obvious like Warriors, Lakers games are a little bit harder to come by, but I might steer you into a more up and coming team anyways, because it's probably be a more competitive, more fun game to watch regardless. So, maybe like New Orleans Pelicans or the Denver Nuggets are up and coming team and doing some really cool stuff. So those games are a little bit easier to get into, and probably would get better seats as a result.
Oh, wow. That's true, huh? So if you want to be side or at least close to court side, can't promise anything, but it is going to be what's available as long as it's, it's out there and you have access to it, I suppose, right?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
It does actually.
Yeah. I've had a few text messages come through like, I'm bidding on this. Yeah, just because it sounds like
right?
a good,
yeah, exactly.
Good
I assume they
days.
serve beer at the stadium and just like.
They definitely serve beer and nachos and all those good things too. So there'll be some appetizers and pre-drinks before dinner. Or we might have to do dinner before. I don't know how we'll see how the restaurants in Sacramento recover from COVID and all that. And so we have to see what's available, where we can go, and the times and whatnot. It's good. There's some variables involved in this lot, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, all of us go to Sacramento for the same conference every year, Unified Wine and Grape Symposium. There's some really good restaurants, by the way, in Sacramento. Yeah. like kick-ass restaurants. So that'll be pretty rad once that all comes together to be able to go somewhere and have an amazing dinner and then head out to the game. So that's really super cool. I want to show everybody now before we kind of carry on the topic into kind of the state of the industry type of thing. I want to share everybody on our website how you basically navigate getting over to the auction. And so if I'm sharing my site now, you can see this is pasowine.com. The virtual auction is practically the first thing that you see here, where you can go and click on that and you're instantly taken to our landing page here, where you can view lots and bid, or you can preview auction lots, which this is really super easy. You click on that and there's all the lots. And so you've got this trailer stay there at the trailer pond. You've got the Saxum current release package, or Turley Wine Cellars, Templeton Vineyard Getaways. You can read. We've got a lot from Justin, from Tobin James. We've got a cool Geneseo retreat thing, staying out at the Cass Geneseo Inn. And a lot of other really, really cool items, 6 Mile Bridge or the Booker Experience, a Pioneers thing, all kinds of really cool stuff, you guys. And so go to pasowine.com, check that out, and you can see what we got out there for different lots. And Tyler, you said something really interesting is about the industry and about the restaurant industry and how they're faring here after COVID. What are you hearing something of that sort right now, as far as in Sacramento and from your friend, or what? I mean, what are you hearing?
I'm not really hearing anything in Sacramento. I do know in larger cities like that, there's been a little bit more dramatic impact as far as restaurants having to shut it down and whatnot. And Paso Robles seems to be, there was some dark times for sure, but it seems like they're definitely making up for some of those dark times now. It's been pretty crazy out and about. And so it's kind of like, we could sit here and talk about the effects of COVID that we've had, and they've been dramatic and not great, but it definitely seems like we are on the other side of it, just based on how hard it is to get a table on a Tuesday night, which is typically a night that you go out assuming you're not going to see anybody and you're going to have a little section of the bar to yourself. Now you're going to the Hatch or wherever, and we're very happy for these places and grateful for it because it's good for everybody. But it's pretty bonkers out right now. So I would say the state of it currently is probably the opposite of what maybe they're experiencing some in larger cities.
Yeah. Hey, Austin. So you have a full sales team out there across the country. And so you probably have your finger on the pulse of what things are looking like as some places are reopening, or as I was talking, actually, a small wine bar near Jacksonville, Florida. She never closed, of all things, this year. But as we're starting to see places open up more, what are you hearing maybe from like your distributors or your salespeople as far as kind of state of the industry out there as we're once again get this engine rolling and promoting Paso wine across the country?
Our team has been really active, through the
Yeah.
whole
Right by that yellow shelf thing.
so our team's been super active all the way through through the COVID pandemic thing, and it's been interesting to watch. But right now it's full steam ahead for most places. Anytime that they say you can open up, it's full, it's packed. I mean, Texas was a good example of it. It went crazy where they said 25% and there was actually 50, and I mean it's Florida's been wide open. So I mean, we're seeing the turn happening fast. I think the recovery is going much quicker than anticipated. I think, especially, people that feeling safer by having vaccine available now. I think that's helped, build confidence. And so, I mean, right now it's good. I mean, people are still buying wine. I think it's going to take some time to get the restaurants back to full speed, and mainly because you've created a pattern or a habit or whatever you want to call it with everybody out there that's been so used to doing the same thing over and over, right? Order in or cook at home. So those kind of things, it's going to take time, It's about, I can't remember what they say. It's like, you got to do something repetitively, like 90 days or something. It becomes a habit. There's some analytic number for it, but so we got to break that stride, right? But I think that it's definitely happening. And, here you can see it. It's crazy, right? I mean, you can't even get into restaurants here. It's wonderful. I'm happy to see that it's happening. There's still some areas, I think New York's probably still a little slow coming back around, but I think the southern states are definitely running pretty hard. California is probably the weakest, I think, probably in the nation at this point. But everybody's pumped up and everybody's happy to see people. So it's our team is busier than they ever been right now.
That's good. Are they actually making full sales calls right now? I mean, are there people to actually go and if they're doing ride withs or whatever, are places receptive?
Yeah, they are. It's different. I mean, I think the way that the market is, or the way we go to business or used to go to business, I think that's changed. I think quite honestly, I think we're way more efficient. Being in the sales business, I mean, I've been, traveling around the country, the whole world for my whole life to, promote wines. And it's, it'd be like, I mean, I used to have to, before our team got big enough, I used to have to go to Kroger. I'd fly into Cincinnati for a 30-minute meeting, and it'd take me 2 days to get to damn Cincinnati. And then, now it's a 30-minute meeting over Zoom, and we move on and we're in another state in 30 minutes later. So it's, the movement of the efficiency has gotten better. And there's still places that are virtually meeting. You send wine to them, but for the most part, it's starting to roll, because a lot of the people are just they want to be out, they want to do it, they miss what they do. I think it's the other thing it's going to take time to build back up is inventory in the restaurants. That's the only negative thing that I see with what's happening right now is, I do, and there's positives and negatives to it, quite honestly, but the day of these, 100-page wine lists, I think that's gone. It was already way too inefficient as it is, having to have that much wine on hand, and some of the bigger restaurants that carried this much inventory really got beat up on that, right? Because they basically, there's nobody coming in here buying all these wines, and they're storing all this wine, and it's a lot to have on there. So I think you'll see wine lists get shorter, which I don't mind, quite honestly, because when I go to a restaurant, it's always given to me the wine list, and when they're 100 pages long, everybody's already trying to order food, and I haven't even got through page 5. So I appreciate the shorter wine list.
You actually take your time to read the wine list versus maybe going to an old favorite or something.
Yeah, I do, because you never know, right? I mean, it's fun. I mean, I love it. It's fun to see stuff, but it's not efficient, and it's not, it's cost prohibitive for sure.
Yeah, we're noticing something. So we had a program that we're rolling out, which was going to be this virtual tasting for trade to learn about Paso through our Paso Wine School, and we call it Distance Learning Edition. And it was centered around New York, DC, and Chicago. And unfortunately, we didn't get to some kind of cap, numbers that we needed to be at to make the program go. And a lot of what we were hearing though was that a lot of people that are back to work now, they're not looking to stock their inventory with a lot of new stuff. They're basically going to look at what they used to do, where they can get wine quickly and go, before focusing on enrichment, before focusing on new engagement and education. They just need to work, and people are busy. And so that's a good thing. But I wonder how that fares. And I don't know if any of you have a comment on this, but how that fares on some, new brands trying to maybe get placements.
I think it's difficult. New brands are hard. We've got a new brand, but I think I think you're going to have to be more thoughtful at what you do, right? I mean, what you put out there, you're going to have to be very, very, way more calculated, right? Because to your point, they aren't going to just take chances on things, but you've got to. So hopefully, you've built enough following of your brand to be able to show people that, when you go into a restaurant, look, this is how much people are buying this wine. This is what we're doing here, and give, you're gonna have to. I probably have to be a little more of a salesperson, right, to get people to bring new stuff, untried stuff in. But they're doing it. But I think the positive thing for us, everybody here, is Paso is really gaining so much traction that we're still cool and new, and people are asking for Paso wines. That's the biggest thing I've seen. And the distributors, that's probably the single largest change that's happened. Is we've had, there's been some success with brands in Paso nationally growing, and the distributors behind it. And so at the end of the day, it's the distributors are your facilitator, right? To get you in the restaurant, or get you in a store. And if they believe in you in the region, like they are now, that's huge, right? So you've got to step up above, say, the North Coast right now, because everybody knows Napa, and now you got all these people out there across the country talking about Paso, asking about Paso, and so it's going to be real hard for the gatekeeper, call it the restaurant or the store, to not say yes to a region that just is being talked about probably the most talked about region in the world at this right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. And I know, Tyler, you have always been on our board, a big proponent and trying to make sure that we are marketing and getting in front of distributors over time. And it looks like it's probably something even more so important now.
Yeah, I think that it is really hard for especially smaller brands to find that distribution. And when you don't make as much wine as maybe some of them would like to get to be able to maintain placements and whatnot, it makes it a little harder. This doesn't mean that you don't have a place in these markets, or there isn't a customer base out there for you. And it is a little bit harder to get on the phone with the right person if you don't have the right contacts and whatnot. And so, yeah, we've done some buyer retreats here in town, and it has a stipulation where, do you have distribution in Maryland? And it's the same 5 wineries that can participate, because it's the 5 wineries that happen to have distribution in Maryland. My thought is always, maybe we're putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit. Maybe we should have portfolio managers from Maryland be coming here and then do a buyer's retreat after, and maybe see if we can't get people within the Paso Robles area to get a little bit more diversity in some of these markets, wherever they are, Maryland, wherever. Just that's a random example. But yeah, I do think that there is, there's some amazing people telling amazing stories about Paso Robles. And one thing I do always commend Austin for, whether it's to him or behind his back, is that he got his attention, is that he's one of the best representatives for our area, because he's so passionate about this place. And I always admire that about him. With that being said, I do think there's some other people that can fill those shoes a little bit and tell the stories and do a really good job of that as well. And so, yeah, trying to put other people in a position to be, on that soapbox a little bit isn't going to hurt nothing. And Austin can only be at so many places at once. But yeah, there's a lot of really awesome people here making awesome wines, and it would be nice to see some of those become some household names.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that
And,
point, Tyler. It's the thing of, like, Austin, you're in a unique position, relatively speaking, to my brand, Tyler's brands, because you're big and you've got national reach. And I think it really speaks to what is one of the coolest things about Paso, which is the community piece, that like the U's that exist, you're repping Paso in a way that the U's in other regions are not. They're repping their brand first. And so I think I don't know, I think it just echoes what we all love about the region, is that like, yeah, like we want people to know about this, and we want people to get to know the wines. And if someone in Maryland orders a bottle of Austin Hope Cab and loves it, and then next time they see another Paso bottle on the list, like it's going to be in there, it's cool.
No, that's my dying wish. Is my goal is to see Paso be a household name like Napa is before I die. That would be awesome.
Well, we got many
You're
years.
definitely
To
doing
go,
it. You're
hopefully.
definitely contributing to that, and it's appreciated.
Well, we all
And,
are, sure.
Like a household name, Napa deserves so much respect in the world of wine and California wine, but it also evokes something else. And I hope that Paso is not only a household name, but a household name that feels approachable and accessible, and like a place you want to go that welcomes everybody.
No,
Yeah.
you're right on point.
Yeah.
You really are.
Well, I often say too is that when you have brands out there that have some extensive type of distribution, just the fact that stuff like this, where you can see Paso being so kind of front and center, that is definitely serving as an advertisement practically for the rest of us, for the other, 199 brands that exist here in Paso. Because if you like that Paso wine, as Maggie was saying, you might seek out another one next time around, or maybe you'll come to Paso and then get to experience some of the other brands that exist here that don't have that bandwidth to be in distribution in other places. Maggie, I do want to go over to you. I do want to ask you a little bit about, we were talking offline a little bit about hiring and about kind of work shortages. And I know that that's been on the national narrative here in the last few days. But before we do that, share your screen really quick and show us.
Oh, okay. So I pulled up 3 photos of the trailer pond. I'll see when I toggle between tabs, I'm hoping that it still works. If it doesn't, do let me know. So this is, you guys can see it?
Yep.
So this is the trailer pond in the fall. So this photo was probably taken in November. So it's clearly autumnal, but you can see the trailers are situated just in the middle of the vineyard. It's a really, really cool setting. And so we've got our Shasta, our Kenskill, our Terry, our Aristocrat, and our DeVille. So they're all these different, they're all different models, and they all have different stuff going on. And we have our little communal kitchen over here. The dock is just kind of a hangout. There's some chaise lounges, that kind of thing. And then there is, just out of frame, there's a bathroom. So it's a 2-stall bathroom with an outdoor shower, outdoor sink. It's a delight. It's, you're just, again, read the FAQs. And if it sounds good, you'll love it.
Awesome.
I've spent time on that pond. It's pretty amazing.
It's fun. All right, this one got minimized, but it's easy to make it big. So another kind of setting photo. This was taken a month ago, not quite. So again, you can get a feel for the setting. Every time of year, there's something different going on. It's super beautiful. So we've got our little poppies showing up. You can see we had some people. These are basically like my coworkers' friends who we bribed to come and loiter so we could take some photos. And I think I pulled up one more. Uh-oh. Nope, I'm forgetting how Zoom works.
Well, thank you for making sure. Do you have one of the deck?
Yes, I do. I'm going to stop sharing for a sec while I find it.
Okay. Well, it's good that you're sharing these, because I noticed that somebody I've been talking to recently, a book author who's doing a book on California, in California wine country, he's watching, and he's coming to Paso here over the next year, many times to feature Paso. And so I have a feeling that it's so picturesque out there. I have a feeling that might be he's also a photojournalist, might be.
I hope so.
So.
All right, I've got one. It's another fall one. So I'll do this, and then I'll stop making you look at my personal slideshow. So
as Maggie takes over the Paso
Wine exactly.
Hour.
Be like, welcome to the wine hour. So the deck, you can see the shadow of it just underneath the tree here. So it's situated in the middle of a block of Syrah. So to get there, you have to walk through the vine rows, and then it's very casual. You know, we just have some benches, we move it around depending on where the sun is. The setting it's stunning. So hopefully we'll get to
And that's your house in the background where you are right now, right?
broadcasting it live on the internet. That is where I live. Yeah, so
Sorry
I
to
live
point
on
that out, but
property.
it takes a
Thanks,
little to
Chris.
get there. You can't stalk her or anything,
I
people.
have a German Shepherd. She's not terrifying at all. Yeah, so I get to live on property, which is insane. So that's where I am. It's an incredibly beautiful place, and luckily it also grows really good wine.
Yeah, that's true. And you're a great source vineyard for a lot of brands out there as well. So back to topic. We were talking, like I said, a little bit about, and it's also, as I mentioned in that national narrative, about a shortage of workers, and you're kind of seeing that yourself.
We definitely are. I'd be curious to hear from Austin and Tyler also if you're looking to hire. We're in a position that is great, you know, as problems go. This is the one I want, of having more demand than I can meet in terms of tasting room, particularly Saturdays. So when people come to town, if you have any flexibility to like throw in a full Friday or a full Sunday, do it, because Saturdays are booking up like 3 weeks in advance. And it's not that I don't have space, but the pinch points are things like it's hard to hire people. It's hard to find people to join the team. They've got lots of options. There's incentives to do other things. And there's also weird stuff like it's hard to get outdoor furniture. Like this, you know, it takes 9 weeks for an outdoor table to get delivered. So I run out of hands and I run out of chairs. And so we're trying to come at it a little more creatively and try to sort of alter our thinking in terms of where we're looking to hire. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. But it's very much, for my business, I can definitively say that it's a challenge, and just sort of anecdotally talking to other business owners around, it seems legit really hard.
Yeah, and if you go to pasowine.com and look at our classified section, you'll see there's a lot of jobs out there right now in tasting rooms and other support positions. As a matter of fact, we're even hiring right now. Sadly, Carol, who was our admin and marketing coordinator, she's moved on to a different position, and so we need to fill that slot. And not a lot of people actually applying. And normally with the Wine Alliance, it's like everybody wants to work here. So
I counted. I posted something last week, Chris, and normally there's like, what do you figure, 15 or 20 posts a month? And the day that I posted, there were 16 posts that day.
wow.
And so I was like, well, I'm gonna throw my name in the hat.
Yeah, it's definitely a job finder's market these days. I don't know about Tyler and about Austin, if you guys are in those kinds of positions, but I know you have a small place over there, Tyler, and you're probably trucking right along, but I don't know what you've seen or what your friends or neighbors have seen.
Yeah, well, we recently hired a tasting room lead, but we were very fortunate that we got a great person, but we received 2 resumes from our posting, and like Maggie was saying, usually you would probably get an influx, and it's quite the opposite. Like I said, luckily we one of the 2 ended up being perfect for what we needed, and so it worked out great. But yeah, there's not a huge pool of talent, so to speak, I guess, is part of the problem. And also, you know, we're all reopening at the same time. People are traveling a little bit more heavily because they can. And so we're seeing a big jump from that. But it kind of goes back to something Austin was saying too, is that Paso Robles really being having increased notoriety here for so long that our visitor base has grown so much, and we have, you know, so much more direct flights now into San Luis Obispo more than ever, and we're seeing a lot more from that. Like it used to be, we'd see someone from Dallas, Texas, and we'd be like, "Whoa, Dallas, Texas, that's crazy." Now it's every weekend there's someone here from Dallas, Texas, because of those direct flights. And so as those grow, we're going to see a continued influx of visitation as well. And it kind of like we were saying earlier, you can't get a seat on a Tuesday night. That used to never be the case, and so we're just more popular and more visited than ever. So yeah, some of us at PRWCA and some other started sitting down, having some roundtable conversations about what's the short-term solutions to this, what's the long-term solutions to this, trying to increase the and more make a little more prestige out of maybe the Questa College, North County hospitality program. So there's more of a feeder into our wineries and restaurants and hoteliers as well, and trying to just really figure out all those things. And then we run into these other hurdles of housing. So where are these people going to live? Because there's not necessarily a surplus of affordable housing in the area either. So trying to work with the city to make sure that's being navigated and that's in the pipelines as well. So it's not just like, oh, hey, this is crazy right now. This is a long-term issue if we don't actually do something about it now. And also it's our job too to pay living wages, and so offer wages that make sense. And Maggie and I could probably both tell you, when we started in this industry, we were lucky to get 12 bucks an hour. There was no tip line. There was maybe a wine club sign up bonus and you're in the tasting room and things like that. And times have changed, and you know, starting salaries are north of around 20 bucks an hour. Now there's tip lines that become standard in tasting rooms, so that's enticing people. Different bonus structures. We've created a really unique bonus structure based on everyone's performance, not just individual performance, that we all benefit from here. Just trying to get creative and have different incentives here that way, and also just try to make places that people want to work at, and you know, making lunch for your team and just being laid back and having a good time, being flexible with kids situations. We're all parents here, and so trying to be, you know, if someone has kids, like what are your needs with your kids, to try to just kind of take a like a little bite of the, like what the tech companies were doing for so long, creating that culture, that working culture, and having maybe that translate into more of a mom and pop environment as well, just to kind of keep up with the times a little bit.
I do think wine lends itself to that. You know, this is a lifestyle industry, and
100%, yeah.
kicking back and having a glass of lunch is part of what we all wish we can do. And there was a really great question in the Q&A section of the chat that was pointing out that, you know, mostly these are part-time jobs. So as employers, we really try to make ourselves sort of marketable to folks who are looking for work. And it's a tough needle to thread, really, when there's so much concentrated demand on the weekends. You know, if I hire someone Thursday to Monday, on Thursday, there's nothing to do. So we're all trying to find the balance of what makes us marketable from a hiring perspective, what's going to serve the business, what we can afford, and of course, what's going to be good for people who join the team. And luckily we can feed you wine, so that's helpful.
And now, are you open 7 days a week, Maggie?
We're not. We used to be, but we don't have staff for Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's one of those chicken and eggs where I'm also not sure the demand is there. So if I were to bring someone on and they were just sitting around, that's no fun. So I haven't pushed it that hard to pull the trigger, but the goal is this time next year to be back to 7 days a week.
Yeah. Austin, you guys are 7 days a week.
Yeah, we're 7 days a week, and it's, you know, everything Maggie and Tyler are saying, it's all super relevant and true. And it's like, I don't know. I hope what will happen is that we'll, you know, we have, you know, we're busy. Obviously, the weekends are crazy, and we're trying to figure out how to get more space and all that kind of things. But somehow we have to, what I've been brainstorming on is how do we promote Paso during the week, right? Because not everybody, you know, there's people that are flying in, right? So people are obviously taking time off, but I think just naturally people gravitate to a weekend. It's a weekend thing. Like, you know, you're going to go out to a restaurant, it's a weekend, and it's like, we got to get past that. And I think I'm seeing it more because we're getting busier during the week. And I think a lot of it is, if they want to visit you and then they go to click the reservation and they can't get in on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, well, then if they really want in, so now our Thursdays are getting busier. And so we just got to get the word more like, okay, hey, you want to really kick ass wine experience? Come Monday through Thursday. Come Monday. Those are the days that you'll get the best treatment. You'll get more time. You'll get a better experience. Or, you know, our tasting hosts are not rushed from table to table, and they can, you know, because it's intense. And at least at our place, we give an experience. I mean, you come to our place, we treat it like a restaurant. You sit down, we come to you. We talk about as much as you want to talk about. I mean, and our place is really comfortable, which is probably a bad thing. I mean, I think I need to make the chairs harder or something. Those lounges are too damn nice. That's what Joe keeps telling me. He says, you made this place too nice. Nobody wants to leave. How do we keep more people? And I'm like, I don't know. So that's
why they're
the-
always late to their next appointment. Thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. That's
Old
right,
Austin,
exactly.
you got to quit it with the high-end furniture. Just get some garbage like the rest of us.
But I think pushing for the week, I mean, I think we're gonna do a campaign on that here coming up, just like pushing all the people we have on our list. Like, don't forget about the other days. They're cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
our door says it has our hours Thursday through Monday, but it says Tuesday, Wednesdays, if the door's unlocked, we're open, because we always make ourselves available in the event that people want to taste on those days, because we're always here. There's never a day where nobody's here. And so, but we're seeing more and more requests for those Tuesday, Wednesday days. To your point, those midweek days are starting to increase, and it is becoming more of that week-long destination thing. Or maybe people are doing Santa Barbara County part of it and Paso Robles for part of it, and making a week out of that. And so we are definitely starting to see an uptick in that. And I think with a little bit more campaigning and a little bit more energy put into that, we'll see a big jump in that, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I better find someone to work Tuesday, Wednesday.
No days off for you is what that means, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
For you guys too, especially when the winery itself is actually attached, to your tasting experience. I mean, you're kind of there as it is. So oftentimes, so yeah, it seems like it becomes kind of a given. Tyler, I saw Kingston there, and I think if you, by the way, he's gotten huge. He's a little man now. It's like, wow. If you have to
know it, yeah.
let us know, because I think you said something at the beginning of the show. But what thing is, though, everybody, is we've actually come to the end of our show, if you can believe it. That was a quick hour. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Maggie, Tyler, and Austin for your insights and everything on talking a little bit about what's happening here in Paso and outside of Paso, but also for your donations to the Wine Country auction. And so once again, everybody watching, on Monday is when things go live. You can actually still register to be a part of the auction ahead of time, so you can actually peruse all of the different auction lots and everything. So do that. We never got to find out what everybody was sipping on. Sorry, but that's what happens.
Show you.
Fine.
I opened a knee now.
Oh, nice. I had Drew on the show, I think, the other day. So very cool.
I actually don't know. I told Amber, give me a glass of wine. I'm on this thing, and she just grabbed me a glass of wine. So yeah, I think it's Syrah.
I think
Syrah.
Austin was sipping on water or something. So
yeah, I didn't know this was I got trapped in this boardroom. I was in a boardroom meeting, and then you text me and said you're supposed to be on. I'm like, oh my god! And then now, yeah, the LaCroix. I got robbed, dude.
Austin, pull it together.
You'll make up for it. Yeah.
I'll drink extra tonight.
Austin Hope, thank you very much. And yes, you did give me this bottle, by the way. So thanks.
I know.
It's been sitting in my.
I didn't get one.
Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the Paso Wine Hour. Maggie, Tyler, Austin.
Thank you, everybody.
For watching.
Thanks.
Tune in next week. We're going to be talking about the Paso Robles Wine Festival that we are still kind of having, but not having, because we're not having a big event, but we're still doing stuff for it, and everybody's doing stuff for it. So tune in for that. We'll have another fun discussion with 3 new peeps who have not been on the show, I don't think. So see you next week. Paso Wine Hour, 3 o'clock, Thursday.
Adios.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.